But then again, they just came home from a funeral, right? I assume maybe right after the funeral, they would go looking for Alouette. Either way, maybe I'm assuming. But anyway, we're back with Annalise now, in this weird field. I guess this field like bloomed after the fire collapse, and they had like weird rainbow flowers and whatnot. I think. And it's been a while, actually. It's been a while since we were back with these characters again. So, well, alright. I guess we'll have to wait a bit longer. That's strange. I'm pretty sure this is the right time. Food. Abigail's Garden. A bewitching field of flowers that sprung up in the southern wastelands following the fire of collapse. Right, we're just back here now. What were we doing? Like, what were we doing after the like entire interlude with like Emini, the knife mom? And right before, like, the Lyra twins were like, crying about like not being able to save a bird, I think, from drowning and all that. Right, and even before that, as Atlas, actually, before we switched perspectives to the twins and had that flashback, Atlas was trying to talk with someone, I believe, the librarian. But I guess we're not gonna jump through that. Instead, we're just here in this field. What the heck, Daddy? Where's the food? A picnic was supposed to have been set up by the time we got here. Yeah, we're just having a picnic? But the only thing that greeted us was some bloke snoozing carelessly in the grass. Wake up, I'm hungry! What's going on? The bloke murmurs blurrily as Kalia's fussing awakens him. Where's the food? You can't have a birthday picnic without food. Oh, it's a birthday? Well, Cecil and Belai said they had it covered. The bloke makes a sleepy noise and tries to go back to sleep. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! We didn't come all this way to watch you sleep, bozo. At her wit's end, Kalia jumps on him and starts throwing a tantrum. A Toon Lyrt, a man that always has bandages wrapped around his hands. According to Papa, he was a talented engineer, but didn't exactly give the most reliable of impressions. His ability to maintain any semblance of sleep while Kalia bouncing up and down on him wasn't unimpressive at the very least. Hey Triss, help me out here. No, help me out here, would you? With an exasperated huff, Triss kneels down next to the prone Atoon. He sticks his pinky in his mouth and gathers saliva on it, and then unceremoniously jams in the poor chap's ear. With an unbecoming yelp, Atu flops around like a fish trying to swim through air. Okay, I'm awake. Stretching his limbs, he lets loose a big yawn, rather. Holy smokes, how long did I sleep for? Staring up at the sun in disbelief, he rubs his eyes as if convinced they were somehow failing him. Oh, don't tell me, you didn't get the picnic cloth out, dude. Oh, Cecil, I always forget, Cecil is Papa, or Dad. We turn to find Papa and Miss Faye approaching with baskets full of food and drink in hand. Also the Lord of Sokotron, I guess. He's like the king. Sort of. I guess it's not really an aristocracy anymore. It's not like a feudalist society anymore. He's sort of like the king-ish. Like the leader, anyway. You had one job, Atu. One job. And the easiest one of that. Yeah, sorry about that. And also, yeah, they're childhood friends as well. I mean, again, that's convenient. I thought I'd have the time to take a quick nap since it was such an easy job. Miss Faye shoots Atu in a withering glare. You know, this birthday picnic is for your own children, right? Okay, yes, it's the Lyra twins' birthday. Well, eating on the grass is nice in its own way. More importantly, Papa, Miss Faye, what do you think you're wearing? Isn't this what I usually wear? This is what I usually wear in the... Oh. The words trail off as I realize what I'm getting at. Grown-ups are so clueless at times. Why are you wearing your work clothes to a picnic? At least I'm dressed properly, Bubs. Geez, can't you do anything right? You guys are supposed to be adults. Everyone makes mistakes now and then. Also, we didn't have the budget to draw more clothes for our characters, so we're just gonna keep them like that. They explain it in the dialogue as being part of the story. Anyway, the grown-ups look down in shame as Lorona feebly tries to defend them. Anyways, what's on the menu? I'm famished, especially after that long interlude. What do you call it? I keep saying flashback and interlude. It's kind of like interludes, not really though. I guess backstory, as we call it. Anyway, I tug at Papa's sleeve to get him to lower the picnic basket. There's only drinks in this one, actually. No pasta. Noletta peers in the Miss Faye's basket with a dejected expression. What? Is this curry? This is supposed to be a picnic, Miss Faye. Why would you make curry? Well, don't you think sandwiches are just so generic? Yeah, I guess in all the animes I watch, and every time they have a picnic, everyone just eats a sandwich. Well, I tried to think of what else you could eat with a bread instead, and ended up with curry. Questionable. We can probably make it work, though. Well, they had a point, Billy. Curry's not exactly prime picnic material. Huh? How are we gonna eat the curry? I don't see any bowls or spoons. Oh no, I must have left the basket or tableware at home. How about you get your shit together before you criticize me and my curry? Also, I always like TCH in anime. It's not because I always thinking it's like clicking your tongue, but also it's like in animes anyway. They go ch like ch like that. I don't know, I don't know if that's properly how you do it. I don't know if it's just exaggerated in anime, but usually when it's like they do that noise, go like ch, I don't know what the implications for that. I guess it's the same thing as like clicking your tongue. I don't know. She's so defensive. So defensive. Defensive. Are you kidding me? The heck is this? And anything else? Can anything else possibly go wrong with this picnic? What? What is it now? Just lay down thick. I don't even care anymore. Well, it's just... I don't think anyone brought any bread. Dead. With a look of resignation, Kalia flops lifelessly onto her face. In show of solidarity, Triss drops to the ground next to her. Our stomachs grumble loudly. Pasta... You have anything to say for yourselves? Useless adults. Not even Lorona seemed capable of defending them anymore. Well, it smells pretty nice, so there's that. My apologies, everyone. I'll run back and get the third basket right away. Excuse me. The curry will be cold by the time you get back. What a shame. Over here. It's Brestle. Everyone turns their attention to Brestle. Okay. Apparently he had taught it up to us at some point. Is that a picnic basket? Grasped within Brestle's hands was a shiny symbol of hope. I got back just as Cecil was leaving and saw this, so... It's all the bowls and utensils and stuff. Pasta! You even bought napkins. Just what we needed. You're so thoughtful, Brestle. Nice save, Brestle. I did pretty good, huh? Brestle swells up with pride at all the praise that comes his way. Don't mind the fact that you I don't know. I was gonna say like punch, but he didn't really punch. Maybe he kicked and punched a little. During that time where he freaked out, when we went to their house and whatnot. Don't mind that. Anyway, well, actually, I wonder, do they have memory of that happening? Probably not. It was pretty heavy too, so I'm glad I... Hello! Alouette is here! I was wondering what she was trying to say. She was saying her name. It's mouth-watering smell. Could it be? A steaming basket with an aroma so appetizing, it was unfair. It was unfair was nestled? No, it was unfair that it was nestled in Alouette's arm? Yeah, I think that's what it's meant to be. Bread. Alouette brought lots of bread. Smells good. Oh, you even brought a picnic cloth. Just what we needed. You're so thoughtful, Alouette. Yeah, Alouette knitted. Alouette made the bread too. Really? This cloth is so well made. I didn't know you knew how to knit. Nice save, Alouette. Oh, what a relief. My hard work was not in vain. You really helped us save face there, Alouette. Oh, you can always count on Alouette to come through in the pitch. Don't mind if I take a bite. Ah, can't wait anymore. Can I have some bread, Tutors? Rip Brussels. Your time in the spotlight was short-lived. Cheer up. Yeah. Huh? Kalia, what's wrong? You're crying. Eh? Am I? Upon closer inspection, both Artoon and Triss had tears in their eyes as well. I wonder why. Okay, calm down. We get it. The bread's good. Don't mind me. Just something in my eye. Or onion-cutting ninjas or something, huh? This bread really is amazing, though. No wonder the Mozzarella Bakery hired you. They're quite picky about the talent, you know? Alouette learned from the best, after all. She learned from the Lyric twins' mother, maybe, M&I? And that's why Artoon and Kalia and Tristan are crying a little, because it reminds them of their mother. It all comes together. Thanks to Alouette and Bressel, everything is now accounted for. Bressel in, like, brackets. Why don't you do the honors, Kalia? Alright, thanks for coming, everyone. Let's get this party started. Her mood having made a complete 180, Kalia cheers. And just like that, the Lyric twins' birthday picnic began. Amazing. What did you put in this curry, Bella? It's amazing. Looks like today's one of Bella's good days, huh? Is this UL cuisine? I never tasted anything like it before. Everybody, this is like a medley of flavor. Well, it's actually a mix of UL and Sokotrani cuisine. Its characteristic golden yellow hue comes from the turmeric. Coriander, cumin, fenugreek, and fennel are the spices that give it its distinct flavor. A dash of hot sesame oil and spicy chili pepper to give it an edge of heat and temper the color. To thicken the consistency, flour, dextrins, vegetable cream, and powder yeast extract are used. And of course the fundamentals that make up the dish's foundation: onion, garlic, ginger, palm oil, and your basic spices. That's lots of information. Wow, you really went all out, Miss Faye. A well-balanced dish overall. You've got your choice of meat as well as potatoes to cover your starches. I think the color is what brings it all together, though. The curry's inherent golden yellow is in conjunction with the orange of the carrots and the touch of green that the chive and scallion garnish offer make for quite the palatable palate. It's all a description for the food. I can't help but feel there's more behind this taste, though. There may or may not be some secret ingredients from my experiments as well. Is this really safe to eat? We'll see. Everyone will have food poisoning. Last time you said that, I spent all night on the toilet. Jokes aside, a supplemental seasoning I incorporated is soy sauce and UL fish sauce. Fish sauce? That's weird. I don't like the taste of fish at all, but this is great. And that is what's truly curious. Pungent as it may be, due to the extended fermentation process, it doesn't even taste remotely like fish. Its iconic savoriness is almost certainly due to its lupinate content, though preliminary testing suggests its nitrogen level might also play a factor. No, since nitrogen has no intrinsic flavor, there has to be a correlation. You're doing it again, Bella. Serve the Miss Faye. Alouette was watching. Bella made it go pop. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, better get an extra roll of paper, toilet paper ready tonight. Last time we ran out, I had to use my bandages. What? I use bandages? What the heck, Daddy? That's disgusting. People are eating. Num num num. That was just... Before he could finish his sentence, Kalia's dropkick sails into his gut. Why is it always me? Did he barf on the food and little one got caught in the crossfire again? Oh, Kalia, look, you've gone and made a mess again. You don't want to talk, Daddy. This is all your fault. Sorry, Lenona. It happens. Way too often it does. This is like a running gag. I'm made to suffer. Even this is slightly maybe my fault, you can't get mad because I'm the birthday girl. That's not how any of this works. It's always a wise choice not to sit near Kalia missile magnets. Hey, you put pasta in your curry? You're so silly, Noletta. How is it? Normal. The pasta I mean. Oh, that's right, okay. I clicked that too fast. Mr. Daimler's pasta is better. You haven't improved much. How blunt. Leave it to Noletta to deliver savage blows without batting an eye. Well, perhaps you could try taking more risks in your cooking. You strike me as someone who would approach it conservatively, Bristle. And to be fair, it takes a lot of mastery to make food like pasta stand out. It's easier to make complex recipes with many parts your own than something as simple and fundamental as pasta. That's why I think Alouette's bread is so impressive. Presso needs to attack it. Attack the food. Pow pow pow. This is my kitchen, bub. That's what Presso has to do. I don't get it at all. Bathed in the warmth of each other's company, the 10 of us digging into our heart's content. That was kind of making me hungry. Everyone's eating so much food. Oh, and that little transition. I guess we saw that transition before. I guess we're from Atune's perspective now. Alright, let's play. All the kids come with me. The moment she finishes eating, Kalia jumps to her feet. Oh, haven't we played enough today already? My legs are sore. Quit your belly aching. Don't forget your promise to follow my orders for the entire day. You're such a slave driver, Kalia. Hey. Huh? Why are you dragging me along? Let's play. I'm tired. I had work all day. Old man. Looks like Brestle turned into an old foggy while we weren't looking. Or old fogey, rather. What a shame. And I guess, oh, this is the first time we see Allie's, like, from a different character. Like, her like, full sprite. Interesting. I don't want to be an old foggy. I'll go. Huh. He's so easy. So easy. Easy. Let's play, let's play. I'll catch up once I finish this bowl. Make it quick, Aid. The kids romp off, leaving Alice and us, adults, behind. A lively Kalia is the way it should be. She's come a long way. Yeah, she's a strong girl. How have things been going with Triss? He's still avoiding you? I cast my eyes to the ground. Avoiding him? I wonder why. I don't remember exactly why. Is Tristan angry at Atune for something? Maybe. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe it's because Em and I told the whole story, right? And the fact that she tried to confess, the fact that she's been a serial killer, you know, to Atune, but like Atune was, you know, being all aggressive and all that. How like he's like wanting the Phantom to pay for their crimes, and you know, unbeknownst to him, Em and I was the Phantom, so it turns out she couldn't really, she didn't feel like, you know, it was safe for her to confess to Atune. So maybe that's why Tristan is angry, because he knows the full story right there. It's been 2 years already, but some things don't fade easily. The Phantom of Minalost. After claiming Father's and Em and I's life, they had stopped killing and disappeared, almost as if they had fallen off the face of the earth. Oh, okay, so I guess, I mean, I was thinking maybe Tristan would like tell everyone. I mean, he can't like talk, but he can at least like write, right? So I was thinking maybe he would give the story, but I guess not. Maybe to protect his mother's honor, you know, to protect her memory, not to paint her as like a murderer, right? And in a way, she wasn't the murderer because she was controlled by this weird like magic red illusion thing that I'm again Still totally not sure what it is. But yes, yeah, the official story, anyway, is the fact that Emily was killed by the Phantom. Right? Not so much herself killed herself, I guess. But, well, she didn't really kill herself. She died protecting Tristan when they fell down the well. Well, just thinking about the fact that they had never been caught made my blood boil. I think Tris blames me. I think he blames me for not being able to protect his mother from that monster. Well, the mother was the monster. That's no good, Mr. Lyric. Huh? Tris doesn't have a voice of his own, so it's easy to make mistakes of projecting your own voice on him. If you two wish to reconcile, you mustn't do that. I don't think he blames you for his mother's death. He's not unreasonable like that. I feel my eyes widen at Alice's words. But yes, you're right. Now I feel like a fool for being consoled by a 9-year-old. Oh, okay, so at least I don't know if we learned of that before, but I guess she's 9 years old. But how old is she really? Because again, the Golden Dream and all that. I don't know if it's ever been mentioned ever since the beginning, but like the idea is the fact that she's been living in the Golden Dream for a long time, so she's not exactly 9 years old mentally. I don't know. I reach out to pat Alice in the head. Pat, pat, pat. Oh, bleh. But without a hint of hesitation, she brushes my hand away. Head pat denied. Let me make myself clear, since you seem to be misunderstanding something. I don't like you, Mr. Lyric. Oh, you hurt Tris. When he was at his lowest and needed someone the most, you trampled over him. I don't care how much you may have been hurting yourself. What you did was despicable. Alice's words drive a wedge into my heart. Well, okay, I thought it was... I don't know, I thought it was maybe Tristan knowing the whole truth now, that's why he hates his dad, but like, did he do something else? I don't know. What did he do? That's... Tris has every right to hate you. The only reason I said what I did was for Tris's sake, not yours. A cold and steely gaze unbefitting of a girl her age pins my voice to the back of my throat. Anyways, I've meddled enough already. Bye. Having said her piece, Alice leaves to join Kalia and the others. Ouch. She's right, you know. What you did to Tris was abuse. I know. Well, what abuse did he do? I don't... Do we see this? Or I don't know, I don't remember. As the only one to survive encountering the Phantom, Tris's account had been the sole lead towards identifying the elusive serial killer. That's why when the investigation hit a dead end, I tried to coerce him into cooperating. Oh, okay, so that's what he did. Tried to make Tris tell the truth and give him the whole story, but Tris, again, probably didn't want to dishonor her mother's memory, or his mother's memory, right? Even though watching his mother die before him in that dark well must have been traumatizing beyond belief, I tried to force him into reliving it all, and hurt him when he couldn't. What an awful father. Well, it's no surprise you two are estranged. Emmoni's death broke you. For a long time, catching the Phantom and exacting revenge was all you cared about. You were obsessed. I don't forget the part where he was a real insufferable asshole the entire time, too. Sorry about that. I really do regret it. I know it may be difficult for you to move on, but the case is cold now. We might never be able to identify who the Phantom truly was. That's why you need to think about what really matters. You've never even properly apologized to Tris, have you? No. You've always been like this, Autun. A coward. It's true. Everything they were saying was true. I know. I'll try and do what I can. Letting loose a sigh, I muster a smile. Still though, your daughter's really something else, Cecil. I'm glad Kalia and Tris have such a good friend looking out for them. She doesn't pull her punches. Indeed, it's quite troubling to be honest. I wish she would act her age more. It's hard to believe she's only 9. Though, if she heard me say that, she'll probably sass me and say she's 9.5 or something. Usually, she's nothing more than a precocious troublemaker that's too wily for her own good. But when push comes to shove, she can be pretty remorseless, especially with people she doesn't like. Oof. As if you knowing such a young girl absolutely hates your guts out to. That makes me feel like all the evil in the world. Well, between M&I and Sarah, I think we're all more than used to being mercilessly exposed and toyed with. Sarah? Who's Sarah again? Have they been mentioned before? I can't remember. Sarah. Jeez, I miss those two. Games night is just not the same without the whole crew. I assume Sarah's dead. Who's Sarah? I don't remember. I think probably Sarah is probably another character related to them as well. Was she the last ruler of Sukhotrine? Maybe? I don't know, maybe I'm mixing up the names. Oh crap, I didn't mean to kill the mood. Guess it'd be best if we change the topic. Oh wait, there's something I want to talk about that I never got a chance to bring up before. Regarding Ammonite, that is. Huh? It's just... Don't you think in the time leading up to her death, she was acting strange? What? What are you talking about, Bella? It felt like she was pushing us away, trying to keep us at a distance. She did have this one time she seemed a little out of it, but other than that, she was her usual self. I'm telling you that was an act. What are you trying to say, Bella? Couldn't you just be overthinking things? No, I think Bella must be onto something. I never had anything more than this sort of vague feeling, but now that it's been put into words, I see where Bella's coming from. I'm sure of it. Ammonite wasn't acting like herself at the time. She seemed sick. Sick? Sick with what? Mental illness. Hey, hold up. What basis do you have to be saying that, Bella? I don't have anything concrete, but... That one time she seemed a little out of it, you were saying before. She was acting suicidal, wasn't she? Bella's quiet words knocked the breath out of my lungs. My expression must have given the answer away because Bella grimaces. Damn it, even suicidal ideation? So many signs and symptoms, yet we didn't do a damn thing. No, she wasn't like that. She told me everything was okay after that and she went back to her normal self. I can't believe you didn't understand a single thing about her. I didn't either, but you never even tried to understand her, did you? You really are a coward. Yep, I mean, that's part of the reason I you know what, like, at least kind of echoes my words, because my feelings towards Artun. I kind of hate him too. I kind of blame him a little. Maybe a lot. For all that's happened with Ammonite. It's not entirely his fault, but like, still. If he was more, open-minded and actually like was able to be an ally for Ammonite, maybe things would turn out a little bit different. Who knows? That's right. A truth I had tucked away deep in my heart resurfaces with crystal clarity at Bella's words. Losing father made me realize how fragile our ordinary, peaceful life was. The fear of losing anything else had been so terrifying, it paralyzed me. That's why when Ammonite told me everything was alright, I found myself desperately wanting to believe her. I turned a blind eye to the darkness she held in her heart because I was afraid I'd lose everything if I encroached on it. Don't just go silent on me. Don't you understand? Maybe if we had helped and supported her like we should have, she wouldn't have died. What if the reason she got targeted was because of how unstable she was? Hold on, Bella, that's just speculation. Maybe there's some truth to what you say, but that's all hindsight by now. We could come up with should-haves without end if we're going to be retrospective. At the very least, you didn't think it was worth telling us she tried to kill herself? She was a precious friend that we all cared about too, you know? Though, no, funnily enough, we didn't really interact with you, as Ammonite, so I don't know. Were you precious friends? I mean, I guess all that happened off-screen. Bella, just shut up. Your stupid face is pissing me off. It was an uncommon for Belly. Belly? I don't know, I always look at Belly. It's not belly. Belly sounds silly. It just sounds like, our belly, the stomach. Belli to be in a foul mood. but she seemed especially wrought up today. In a way, it was actually a bit nostalgic. Even when we were younger, Belli would often get extremely upset like this. Of course, Cecil and I would never have the foggiest idea why. We're quite the ragtag group of childhood friends, aren't we? I was just thinking about the time we first met. The two of us were playing the fields that day when we happened upon a girl that was lost. I was not lost, mind you. I was merely looking for a change of scenery. At first, we had no idea you were the daughter of the Pharaoh House. We just treated you like a normal girl and ended up really hitting it off. Couldn't be helped. You two practically begged to come back to that little field so you listened to more storytelling. I don't know. The way I remember it, you pretty much forced us to swear fealty to you. Though it was the first time we had so much fun playing imagination. Belli was the one that got us into role-playing games after all. They're playing D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Remember when she declared herself the leader of our little troop and proclaimed she would establish a new kingdom of us as her loyal subjects? Even back then, she was such a slave driver. Little did we know, our sensitive little babby Cecil would later become the actual ruler. That's right, Cecil used to be quite the crybaby. You guys keep saying that, but I don't really remember anything like that. It smells like conspiracy. You are now guilty of treason. No, that's just called selective memory, buddy. It is true that you changed a lot when the Valorian Master took you under her tutelage. I suppose. Cecil averts his eyes. He didn't like talking about his master, after all. Still, though, it's hard to imagine Evergate's garden used to be all wasteland. Before the fire of collapse burned it to ash, it had been ordinary grassland. Yet in less than a decade's span, it had somehow blossomed into this hauntingly beautiful landscape. There's many mysteries about the fire collapse that we have yet to unravel. Its origins, effects on the land, and of course the injuries left behind. I gazed down at my wrapped hands. With great effort, I managed to flex my fingers and curl them into a loose fist. It's been almost 10 years already. Yet these hands will never hold anything. That's a very familiar line, actually. Is that part of the Unlimited Blade Works, chant from Fate Stay Night? Probably not. It's not a reference, but it's just. Isn't that the same? It's like, I am the bone of my blade. Steel is my body. And I forgot the actual poem. I don't know, whatever. I just remember, he goes like, yet these hands will never hold anything. So as I pray, Unlimited Blade Works. Wow. Anyway. Alright, calm down. Your hands aren't that badly injured. Don't read people's minds. I remember it took you a long time to get used to. There are a lot of things you couldn't do anymore. A lot you had to give up on. Yeah, but it's nothing compared to what other people went through. Like Alouette. The fire of collapse left more than just physical scars on us. Scars of the heart. Even though she bears so many of them, Alouette hasn't lost hope. It was all thanks to Ammonai. She alone never gave up on Alouette. She even made sure Alouette would be able to grieve properly and come to terms with her death, unlike what happened with the rest of Alouette's family. That's why I want to honor her memory. Time has begun to move once more for Alouette. But even that is built on a fragile foundation. Believing that her siblings are waiting for her back home, she only leaves that house in order to work and raise money. All because she wants to build the house her father had always dreamed of. Maybe then her father and mother will finally return to her. That's what she believes. I don't know if going ahead with building a house was the right decision, but it's tough. Sometimes Alouette stops by the construction site and tells us stories. Stories about her mummy always wanted, of how her mummy always wanted a bigger kitchen so she could cook larger portions for the growing children. Or how little brother Dio once got stuck in a tree, forcing their papa to climb up and save him. Sometimes she even sings songs that she learned from her little sister Linny. She really loved her family, didn't she? So that the deceased might rest in peace, We must help her move on. Perhaps when this house is finished, she'll finally be able to find closure. Well, we can only hope. It's been almost 10 years after all. Maybe like the scars on my hands, Alouette's heart will never heal. You know, actually, yeah, that's why I was thinking, because remember Alouette she's working a lot. She's like working in the library, in the bakery. They get like a bunch of money, and wondering why she needs so much money. It's probably because she wants to build that house. She cares that deeply for her family that I guess she still doesn't fully understand that, are dead. But, oh well. But even then, I want to do as much as I can for her. In any case, we should probably rejoin the children before they wander off too far. Did you end up getting anything with Kalia and Triss, Artun? About that. You tried to make something for them again, didn't you? Yeah, Artun used to be like a tinkerer, right? He'd like to make little toys and stuff, but now he can't. Yeah. Belai has seen straight through me. When Kalia and Triss were little, they had been quite fond of a music box I made for them. But worn down by the passage of time, the intricate machine inevitably broke. In anticipation of today, I spent several sleepless nights trying to repair it, but you can probably guess how it went. When are you gonna learn how to? Idiot. Baka. In the end, I never succeed in anything but frustrating myself, but a part of me just can't seem to let it go. Well, enough moping around. Looks like the kids have all scattered to the wind. Let's go catch up with them. Oh, and we're Kalia. Kalia now, I guess, playing in the fields. Though, is it safe to be playing in the fields? Didn't someone say, how, it comes from the fire of collapse? Will it, create some strange effects if people are around it? I don't know. The flowers, they dance. Under the gently setting sun, they sway in concert to the wind's caress. Flowers of all shapes and colors. Yet one kind alone was reflected in my eyes. Splashes of vivid blue, speckled with intermittent white. It reminded me of clouds drifting through a boundless sky. Its color, it's the same. The same as Mommy's eyes. Even though they were nowhere near as far away as the sky, I still couldn't reach out for them. All I could do was watch. Just like back then when I couldn't hold onto the things dearest to me. Powerless, a bystander to one's own life. That's all I was. If only I held on tighter. I gazed down at my ineffectual arm stumps, always using this as an excuse for being nothing. How long am I going to stand idle? A wingless bird that has never touched the sky. If such a bird was born and never saw another fly, would it know its place in its sky? Or would it feel empty when it gazed at the heavens, unable to understand why? What are you doing, lost in thoughts all alone? Yeah? Oh, it's you, Aid. You have quite the expression there, you know? Aid sits down the hill and pats the ground next to her. I sit down by her side. Silence. For a while, the two of us simply gazed at the scenery before us without saying anything. It was a comfortable silence, though, warm and fuzzy. My eyes wander over the Aid. I find myself thinking about what kind of relationship I had with her. You can never tell what was on her mind. She was just that kind of person. But for some reason, I really wanted to know. I wanted to know what she was thinking. When she noticed me looking at her, she smiles. A radiant smile that made you feel like you were being embraced by the sun. It made my chest ache. Breaking eye contact, I dropped my gaze to the patch of sky-blue flowers before me. It was so close, yet at the same time it was so far away. Kalia? Yeah? I jumped at the sound of her voice next to my ear. At some point she had gotten close, real close. Without blinking, she peered into my eyes. But what? Every single part of you belongs. To the Kalia I know and love. Bringing her hand to my face, A traces her fingers gently along the edges of my scars. Hey, cut that out. That tickles. Without warning, she suddenly leans in and blows a puff of air into my ear, sending a jolt of electricity down my spine. What are you doing, Alice? That's weird. The heck do you think you're doing? Don't me. Why are you like this? Because your reactions are the best? Come on. Let me give you a big wet smooch next. Or rather, yeah, come on, let me give you a big wet smooch next. That's what Alice is saying. How about no? I try to fend her off, but Aid sticks to me like an oversized slug. Ma, what are you two doing? Perfect timing, Alouette. Please do something about this. It's kind of weird. She's not in the body of a 9-year-old, but like I mean, if she's telling the truth about the golden dream, she's kind of like the mind of an adult. And when you think about it, it's like totally, like not, like, what do you call it? Like, I don't know. I don't know what you call it. It's just weird, alright? It's just weird. Chill. Et tu, brute. Nice, Alouette. We're giving Callie birthday kisses, Alouette. So one for every year she's been alive. Okay. No. Yamero! Evaporation of sanity. My will to live drains from me as my cheeks are assaulted relentlessly from both sides. It's all fine, it's all fine. Alouette loves Kalia. Oh, she fainted. Alright, let's eat her now, Alouette. We're now cannibals. Nom nom. Let's not do that. You know, Alouette, before you came, Kalia had this really lonely face on and was thinking about how she wanted to be a flower instead of a person. No, I wasn't. Eh? Alouette likes human Kalia. Please don't turn into a flower. Listen to what I'm saying. Alouette loves the faces Kalia makes. Right? I'm so done with you two right now. Shoo, get out of here. Well, she's mad at us. Run away. The two of them run off and disappear into the next hill. Jeez, they just do whatever they please. I heave a heavy sigh. Hey, Kalia. Ugh. Ouch. Such a cold reception. I feel like I've been getting roasted all day. What do you want? Daddy scratches his head. You have a good eye, Kalia. These flowers are nice. He crushes over the patch of sky blue flowers. What do you think you're doing? Yeah. Hands have been wrapped in bandages for as long as I can remember. We both knew. There's no way they'd suddenly be able to handle something so delicate. Well, that didn't go very well, did it? Daddy smiles weakly as he gazes down at the once beautiful flower in his grasp. Its fragile stalk and petals have been crushed under his unfeeling fingers. Whoops. But despite that, he doesn't give up. With trembling hands, he reaches out for another. Just stop already. I couldn't bear to watch. Kalia. Daddy looks at me with that expression I hate. Don't look at me. Don't look at me with those eyes. Eyes that pitied me. Eyes that pitied himself. I couldn't stand them. They made me feel like my time had stopped. They made me remember how I used to be. A person who always felt sorry for herself, who wallowed in self-pity and comfortable misery. There used to be a time when everyone gazed at me with those pitying eyes. You poor girl, they would say. Only Aid had been different. She alone had looked past that and treated me like an equal. At first it was confusing and surprising, but it made me realize what I really wanted. Even through the goodness of people's hearts, I don't want special treatment. Deep down, I just want to be treated like a normal girl. But maybe it's hopeless to wish for something like that. I'm sorry, Kalia. What are you apologizing for? I just don't understand him when he gets like this. I felt like there was a rift between us, a gulf that I didn't know how to traverse. Why did he even want to pick the stupid flower? It was a gesture I couldn't return, a gesture I couldn't reciprocate. Something like that. He might as well just go decorate a doll. Hey, Kalia. Aid's shout rings out to us from a distant hill. We're all ready to head out now. A rough weight lands awkwardly in my head. Daddy's hand. Time to go, Kalia. I let my gaze linger on the sky blue flowers one last time before leaving. Wordlessly, I slide up to Daddy's side and the two of us begin to walk. Up ahead, Aid was walking alongside her dad just like us. Their hands brushed and joined together. It was probably an unconscious act for most families, right? Holding your hand, your child, just as Em and I once mentioned, but I guess we can't hold hands because she has no arms. But it wasn't something Daddy and I were capable of. There was no way of avoiding looking at her. The dazzling flower she had picked in one hand, and a strong but gentle palm in the other. It was as if they were dancing to the wind like all the other flowers in the field. The two of us followed in their footsteps. We walked behind the father and daughter, linked to each other through their hands, unable to do the same. I decided I wouldn't be like this anymore. I hated it. I hated how my chest ached when I looked at their backs. It was an ugly emotion I didn't want to accept. It felt suffocating, like a hole was burning through me. And so to escape that crushing feeling, I dropped my gaze to the ground and closed off my heart. Kalia. At some point, Daddy had stopped and lagged behind. But before I can wonder why, incredible pressure lifts me off the ground and high into the air. Wow! I thrash in an attempt to keep balance as Daddy sweeps me into a shoulder ride and rushes up to Aid and her dad. Oh? Challenging us to a race, are you? Very well. I permit you to carry me to victory, princess style, Papa. Wah! Don't just sling me over your shoulder. This isn't comfortable at all. Don't be unreasonable, Aid. I'm carrying all these picnic baskets as well, after all. Hey, we're racing too? Without warning, Noletta mounts Bresso, forcing him to piggyback her. Hurry, Triss! They're gonna leave us behind at this rate. Favoring raw utility, Lorona sweeps Triss into a fireman carry. Sorry, I'm not as strong as Mr. Cotard and Mr. Lorette, so this is the only way we stand a chance. I didn't sign up for this. I have no compulsion sitting on. Let's go, Belai! Giddy up, giddy up! I'm not a horse. Mush, mush! A sled dog's not much better. Everyone, what's up with you? We're all such idiots. Ready, set, go! Daddy takes off like a thunderbolt. He ran as if his life depended on it, forcing me to hunch over in a desperate bid to stay aboard. Within a heartbeat, we pull ahead of the other contenders, but Daddy doesn't stop. Like a man possessed, he gallops through the sprawling fields as if chasing the sun itself. Huh. Even long after we had left everyone behind, he keeps on going. After an unbelievable amount of time, Daddy crumples to his knees, panting heavily. I didn't know what to say. It all happened too quickly. In the end, Daddy ends up being the one to break the silence. Oh boy, you sure gained a lot of weight, Kalia. I don't remember you being that heavy in the past. What? Idiot. What do you think you're saying to the birthday girl? Daddy begins to laugh, wholeheartedly, with all his soul. The sound of it somehow seemed clear to clear everything away. The heck's up with you? Before I know it, laughter begins to well up and spill out of me as well. We must have looked like complete fools, laughing our hearts out in the middle of nowhere. There's something strange about his tone of voice, though. Daddy, are you crying? I lean over to try and get a look, but he glances down to hide his face. Just got a bit of sweat in my eye, that's all. Or maybe it's those onion-cutting ninjas at it again. Those damn onion-cutting ninjas! The vibrations from Daddy's trembling back seep into my chest. That's how I was able to tell. Liar. Descending from his shoulders, I circle around to find that little streams are indeed flowing from his eyes. Dummy. First you apologize out of nowhere, and now you start crying for no reason. Sorry. And then you're apologizing again. Jeez. I had no hands with which to wipe away his tears, but I didn't feel like letting that stop me. Kalia? Leaning in close, I lap up the little rivulets with my tongue. What? With tongue? It's a little strange, but I mean, I guess that's all she can do. They had a salty tinge of them despite their clear appearance. Ew, that's sort of gross. Your cute daughter is doing something sweet for you, so be quiet and stay still. I don't know. It feels more like you're sampling me to see if I'm fit for dinner. Yeah. I chomped Daddy on the nose, causing him to squeak like a little mouse. Your teeth are still as sharp as ever, I see. Daddy's always been like this. Dense, unreliable, and always doing stupid things that make no sense. Yep. Also, his jokes suck. By the way, I turned to face the sun in the distance. I don't need a fancy handmade birthday present, so you don't need to stay up all night in your workshop anymore. You know this, huh? Daddy hangs his head in shame. Callie, what did I tell you about apologizing? Is it better for family to exchange thanks and apologies? You don't seem to get it, huh? Then I'll start. I knock foreheads with him. Thanks, Daddy. Thanks for winning that race for us. Daddy's eyes widen. From now on, let's exchange gratitude instead of regrets. Okay? I smile at him. Yes, you're right. Daddy smiles back at me. He rises to his feet. Well, Daddy's hitting the thanks bank on the way home today. Ignoring his lame sense of humor, thanks bank? There was a clearness to his eyes that I'd almost forgotten. Ever since Mommy died, Daddy's always carried a darkness to his eyes, as if he were trapped in the past, unable to escape. See, this is the Daddy I've always wanted to come back to us. That's more like it. The two of us survey the landscape before us, a beautiful garden that has sprung up from the ashes of the collapse, like a phoenix rising from the grave. No matter what awaits us in the future, no matter what kind of fire tempers us, I will remember this sight and never give in. Why? Where are you two? In the distance, voices were calling out for us. Come on, let's go join the others. I have to rub this victory in A's face. It wasn't often I could claim bragging rights over her after all. Wait up, Talia. I didn't pull anything. I gaze up at the boundless sky as I run, or boundless blue sky. Lonely yet liberating, fatiguing yet so free. It was an achingly empty blue sky I could never hope to reach. But even the distance it laid was vast beyond compare. Today, it felt like I was taken one step closer to it. Alright, I assume that's the conclusion of the Rich Twins' tale, the little, like, arc, you could say. Maybe. I don't know why, well, I'm wondering why developers focus that much story onto their past, but, well, man, I don't know. I was wondering maybe they would focus, on the backstory of maybe all the characters, like we learn, like Noletta, and maybe Lorona as well, And also, well, Alouette was already been covered, right? So it's kind of like the Lyric Twins' backstory as well as Alouette, Alouette's backstory as well. I don't know if the other characters will get backstories explained to them. I guess we'll see. Wonder how long we have left with Fallstreak, actually. I'm not sure where we last left off. I guess we were done with the picnic with everyone, Though again, I've heard there were some pacing issues, I don't know, subjectively, I guess. And I've read, actually, just a little, I don't know, on the Itch.io page, actually, there's a little note that maybe vaguely implies that there's gonna be a sequel. I don't know, actually. It might actually be... Well, the thing is, the note says to wait, 30 seconds or whatever after the credits, or, and then you'll figure out whether or not this game will have a sequel or not. Which makes me think that you know, again, we might not have a very satisfying conclusion. We might actually just have a hook for the next sequel, which is, you know, not bad. It just makes it hard to gauge, you know, how long this game is. You know, usually when I play games, when I stream them, I check on the website called like howlongtobeat.com or about something. So just a little website that shows on average how long it takes to beat a game, and usually estimated based on that. And because, well, when you stream a game or when you know, provide commentary, I guess, quote unquote, the game does usually take a bit longer than it would be if you were just, you know, sitting there silently playing the video game. So I usually estimate, you know, usually like about double the amount or a little bit less than double how I finish the game. So I'm just wondering, like, you know, am I gonna finish the game in like 1 hour? 10 minutes? Or maybe it will take the whole stream? Or maybe I'm not even done yet? Who knows? Anyway. Yeah, let's just continue. We'll see if it's too short. I guess I'll try to find something else to play for the remainder. But let's see. All right, it's nighttime in the fields. He was there. Evget's garden. Oh. I recognize though, like, I don't know, I don't know what you call it, like roots. They remind me of like roots, right? Plant roots. So like we know where this is from. So I guess we have the answer of where that red illusion went to after his mother died. It went into him. Have you been killing people, Tristan? Well, I don't think we've heard anything about that though. Nothing about the return of the phantom serial killer or anything like that. Well, that would be an interesting plot. You know, even after M&I dies, the phantom still continues, and Tristan would keep killing. But I don't know. Well, let's see. Amidst its ghostly night luminescence, he stood. Triss. He doesn't have the red eyes yet, though. Oh, wait. Ah, okay. This is what I was afraid of. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Okay, so I thought there was gonna be a bit more, but actually I just finished it right after. Okay. Never mind. I thought I was gonna stream more Fallstreak today, but actually it just ended it right there. A little, like, cliffhanger, I guess you could say. Who's this? Adelise? Or the blonde? That's what the blonde hair reminds me of, but I don't know. Oh, there you go. That's a sequel. So there you go. That's a sequel. I just ended it right there. Okay. That's a bit awkward. See, this is that was the problem. That was what I was afraid of, actually. That when I ended it last time, I wasn't sure if that was the ending or the beginning of like the next part of the game. But actually, it was just right there. It was just right at the very end, and I started the stream, and now it's already finished. Whoops. Okay, now what? I gotta put that in I guess I gotta edit that on YouTube. Oh. Okay, that... Anyway. What do I say? I actually have to... Okay, this is a bit awkward, because I just started... Okay, the time of recording this, I just started streaming, but now I finished the game, like, in like 5 minutes. What do I say? I guess for YouTube, I guess that was Fallstreak. I don't know. It's just weird, because I'm just finishing so soon. But, yeah. I guess, Fallstreak. I mean, pretty good visual novel, short visual novel. I mean, there's the sequel hook right there, Fallstreak 2, coming eventually, I guess. The world was interesting, Sokotron, right? Learning about the world, the lore, and how it's an isolated society and all that, and the little short stories were interesting as well. I wish we could have explored more of the Golden Dream. That would have been good. But I guess more in this, like, I guess, chapter of the Fallstreak series, I assume it's gonna be like a series, we really just explored the Lyra twins, right? The Lyra family and the household and whatnot, which is also interesting. We spent a lot of time doing that. I guess, again, a little small criticisms, like, if we're gonna spend so much time from the perspective of Em and I wish there was more character portraits during her arc. There was, like, at the very end, a bunch of CGs, which is pretty nice, but I wish they established that from the very beginning, you know? Well, yeah. And I guess to acknowledge the little pacing issues that's always mentioned in Steam reviews. Like, generally, it's, you know, it's pretty positive, but the way it's paced, in the sense that probably, like, the little, like, silly stuff, the silly, like, slice of life stuff, where we learn about Alice's friends and whatnot. I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind it. It's just that, you know, it's I think it's like the same problem like Lucid 9, the other like free visual novel on Steam that I played. It's the fact that this game has been advertised like a psychological thriller, you know, like a little bit of mystery maybe, right? But then you have these like silly little capture the flag balloon fight in the middle right there, and that probably slowed down the pace a little. I think should have made those, I think, a little bit speedier and just get to the point. It's probably what a lot of people would have preferred, but, well, anyway, it's not too bad for me. It's like, it's not like a deduction of points or anything, even though this isn't a review. But yeah, overall I liked it. I'm excited to learn more if the sequel ever comes out, because I do like the idea of like an isolated world, like reality bending mist and whatnot. And the short stories were interesting, probably metaphors, you know, foreshadowing, really, of what's going to happen later on in the plot. But anyway, I guess that was it for Fallstreak. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you then.